Good evening, Facebook followers. Brian Whitaker here with promoter Herb Simmons. And Herb, we are a week away from the Holiday Spectacular.
The big December 28th card. But first of all, we want to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, with Christmas coming up on Wednesday. We hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday. But you're right, Brian, what a week. Just 6 days away from the last card of 2019.
And 2019 has been a monumental year in SICW. And I have a feeling you're going to go out with a bang. Or with a haircut.
Well, that's what everybody's talking about. The phone has been ringing off the hook. Social media has been just a buzz about the big main event on Saturday night, December the 28th. The SICW Classic title on the line with Curtis Wilde, the champion, defending it against the former champion, the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz. And as you just said, of course, your favorite, Ricky Cruz, thinks he's going to become the champion again, and he's going to get to cut somebody's hair.
He might become the barber.
Yeah, we're going to have to change his name, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, they've went round and round. We've showed you all those videos that we've had over the last several months. We've had them in here and talking to the fans.
Yeah, they've both been on the show.
Both been here on the show, and in fact, they're still jaw-jacking with each other.
I mean, you've got Ricky Cruz, a great professional wrestler, former SICW champion. Then you've got Curtis Wilde, who all the stars have aligned, and he's the chump.
Yeah, or as he says, the champ. And again, as recently as yesterday and today, they've been going back and forth on social media, making promises to you, the fans, on what each of them is going to do. But it's just going to be a great night, and that's just the main event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a lot of other action going on, but why don't we, instead of talking about it, why don't we let
them speak for themselves?
Let them speak for themselves and let the fans decide who's going to be doing what.
'Twas the week before Christmas, and a Puerto Rican must have gotten lost. He took a wrong turn down Wild Street, and he found a boss. It sounds like he's running his mouth looking to catch a full-body bruise. And that little punk goes by the name of Ricky Cruz. See, Ricky, there is a reason that I am the champ. There is a reason that you are looking at the most decorated professional wrestler in the Midwest, possibly the entire nation. There is a reason that I work for 3 companies, and I hold gold in all of them. You see, Ricky, there comes a time when a match transcends our industry. You know, you got Dusty versus Ric Flair, you got Andre versus Hogan, The Rock versus Stone Cold, and you've got Wilde versus Cruz. In St. Louis wrestling, you and I, we're the top dogs. We are the top of the food chain. We are the pinnacle of this business. And this Saturday night, Ricky Cruz, we lock horns. You step on through to the wild side, and I step right into the eye of chaos. And I like it that way. You see, this Saturday night, December 28th in East Carondelet, it is no disqualification, no count out. Anything goes for the most prized possession in Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. The SICW Classic Championship. This Saturday night, Ricky Cruz, you and I go one-on-one. And the thing is, this match does transcend all other matches. Because matches, they come and they go. Championships are won and they're lost. Well, this Saturday, not only is the SICW Classic Championship on the line, but my hair is on the line. My hair. You want to disfigure me. You want to damage my brand, damage who I am. You want to damage everything and anything that says Curtis Wilde is Curtis Wilde. And my hair might be on the chopping block. If you pull off a miracle, if you pull a rabbit out of a hat, you just might be able. No, we're not even going to think about that, because that's not a possibility. You're stepping in the ring with the Lion of the Lou, the Wolf of West County, the Spark of Forest Park, the champ in St. Louis, Missouri, Illinois, the Midwest, this entire country. I'm the most decorated. I am the premier marquee player in sports entertainment, in professional wrestling, you name it. You're looking at him. And this Saturday night, December 28th, you're going to step into the ring and you're going to step on through to the wild side.
Pretty feisty champion there.
Well, champ. People
fans
got
aren't
their
very fond of him.
They got their comments on there, but I'll tell you, there's one thing you got to give him credit for, is he can talk the talk. I mean, but we're going to see.
But right now he's wearing 3 belts, so he kind of has the bragging rights there.
He's got the bragging rights, but let's take a listen to what Ricky Cruz has got to say about December the 28th.
Hello to all the wrestling fans here. Ricky Cruz to give you a little message. Before anything, I want to wish everybody, all the fans, all the wrestling fans, happy holidays and a happy new year to all of you. I am here to talk to you about December 28th, SICW's last show of the year. The last of the year. The most amazing show of the year. We have 8 matches, 8 great matches, 8 main events that you don't want to miss. And here I am to talk to you about my match. Curtis Wilde and Ricky Cruz for the SICW-Wrestling Championship. But not only that, if I lose in this match, I don't get to wrestle for the belt anymore while Curtis have the belt. And if or when Curtis loses, he's getting a haircut. So Curtis, what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to bring scissors, I'm going to bring a knife, I'm going to bring a weed whacker. Whichever way we're going to make it happen, you're getting a haircut. Now, I'm going to explain to fans how we got to this. You see, for 40 plus years, SICW, you know what? I'm going to straight the facts. In February of 2020, it's going to be 47 years that SICW has brought the best wrestling, old school wrestling, pure wrestling to all the fans in the Midwest. Amazing wrestlers have gone through SICW. Legends of the sport has gone through SICW. The best wrestling around. And what happens? I lose the SICW championship to Curtis Wilde. So in the list of all the champions of the Grace Company, now there's all these legends, all these great wrestlers, and there's you, Curtis Wilde. And the thing that bothers me is that your name is in that list because of me. You cheated me. You beat me for that belt. You used your girlfriend, you used your boyfriend, you used everything that you could to put your name on that list. And that bothers me. That hurts. That in this company that has such a lineage, this company that has such a story, this list of great wrestlers, and then there's you. You see, you don't qualify for that belt. You shouldn't have that belt. This is a wrestling company, and the only thing that you do is either cheat, showboat, or talk a lot. But finally, I get the opportunity. Finally, I got the chance to rectify that. I'm going to make it better. I'm going to give the fans of SICW the best Christmas gift that I can come up with. The best New Year's gift that I can come up with. I'm going to take that belt from you, and I'm going to take your little lion's mane from you. You see, Curtis Wild, by cheating and by using your girlfriend and your boyfriend, you have gotten 3 belts. You have cheated 3 people for 3 different belts. And it's my goal, it's my New Year's resolution to take all those belts from you. And I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to start on December the 28th with the SICW belt. By the middle of 2020, my goal is that the only thing that you carry in your waist is that big gut of yours. To all the fans, to all the SICW fans, to all the wrestling fans, to all the pure wrestling, old school wrestling fans, I ask you one thing. Share this video. Let everybody know. Let's show up that day. Let's show up on December the 28th and celebrate an amazing victory. Let's celebrate the greatest haircut of all time. Let's celebrate a new champion. Let's enjoy the tradition of pure old school wrestling. Curtis, I think we've talked enough. I think it's time to show it in the ring. Like I always say, they call me the King of Chaos for something. There's a reason why this match is no disqualification. There's a reason why I didn't care that your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever you want to bring, are allowed. But doesn't that make you think, if I'm willing for them to be there, there must be a reason. The sad part for you, you'll have to wait until December the 28th to find out. Get ready for some chaos. Get ready to lose that belt. Get ready for an amazing haircut. December 28th, SICW, my friend. May God take mercy on your soul. I won't.
Well, Herb, there you have it. We've heard from them both, and it sounds like they're both ready for Saturday night.
I think they're both ready, and we're just going to have to wait and see what comes out. We had the poll up, and, of course, Ricky won that poll.
Ricky won the poll by about 2/3.
But yeah, so the fans voted, so we'll see if their decision is right come next Saturday night. But that's just one match.
Wow. Yeah, and you've got tag matches galore on the card.
Tag matches, 6-man tag matches. Another one that everybody's watching is that tag titles between the professionals, defending those titles against the popular team of Gil Rogers and the Night Train Gary Jackson.
The handicap tag match.
The Butcher, Damian Blade, taking on Sean Vincent and P.T. Beckham. Of course, another one that I'm getting a lot of calls about and questions about, former champions Flash Flanagan going against superstar Steve Fender with Travis Cook, of course, at ringside. So from top to bottom, from Kowalski, 444 pounds of meanness, going against the up-and-coming popular Christopher Cade. It's just going to be an all-star card.
Good friend Darla Staggs on here said she'd love to see this match and watch Ricky cut his hair, but she's leaving the St. Louis area to go back to Minnesota on Thursday.
Well,
I think she should extend her trip till Saturday.
Maybe we'll hijack her.
Yeah, just hold her hostage.
Hold her hostage. Yeah, she would love to be there to see, but then she'd be disappointed if Ricky didn't get to cut his hair. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that's next Saturday night. East Crown Lake Community Center doors open at 6 o'clock. Bell time is at 7. And what a way to end out 2019.
Well, a great way to end, but you're starting 2020 off with a bang.
Yes, we are. And we've been saying that all along. We're going to be starting off 2020 over at the South Broadway Athletic Club with my good friend Tony Costa when we bring a WWE legend in there, and we're talking about Ron Simmons. Damn, as he says. So if you want to see one of the all-time greats, WWE legend Ron Simmons, join us on January the 11th at the South Broadway Athletic Club. Doors over there open at 6:30. Bell time's around 8 o'clock, a little after 8. It's on Tony Costa time.
8:15.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great night at South Broadway. What a way to start off the 2020 over at South Broadway Athletic Club.
Well, Herman, we got a big treat tonight. You talked at the Fans Day, and Tito Santana is going to be joining us here shortly. But before we get to that, I know you've been working on another big legend all day today, working with Charlie Hartman out of Gimmickry Entertainment. Are you ready to make an announcement?
Well, we are close. We are we're this close, and I mean it's all day. We've been on the phone with this gentleman, and we got a big card coming up. We cards all every month next year. Again, multiple dates. We'll have that Bruiser Brody Memorial in May. We've already got Barbara Goodish confirmed for that. Will be here, and of course another one of the greats of all time, Spike Huber, will be joining us for that. But also earlier in May the 2nd, we're going back to the Belclair Fairgrounds for the big match up there. And we are so close, and hopefully in the next 24 hours we'll confirm it 100%. But we're sure enough now, we're not going to let it pass by, that we're going to bring you another guy that's getting ready to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And we're talking about none other than Big Sexy Kevin Nash. Will be joining us on May 2nd at the Belclair Fairgrounds. And what a treat that is. A lot of Kevin Nash fans out there in the wrestling world.
Absolutely. A great legend to bring in here to the Belclair Fairgrounds and to continue with the legends here in SICW.
Well, yeah, he'll join the list of many of them that's scheduled for 2020. When we made the decision to continue on, you were part of that discussion along with the locker room. A lot of the fans said, no, Herb, you got to keep going. February, it's going to be 46 years. So we're going to make 2020 a banner year. Ron Simmons.
2019 big and start 2020 on a roll.
Kevin Nash. Spike Huber, and of course, then we're back to that February date.
So, Herb, why don't you recap a little bit of what's going on here in January, and let's have Tito join us here on the phone.
All you SICW fans, we've been talking for the last several weeks about how 2019 is going to be ending up on a big bang with the December 28th show, and then we're going to kick off January with a couple of big shows right off the bat. January the 11th, we'll be doing the show at South Broadway Athletic Club, and of course, WWE legend, Hall of Famer Ron Simmons will be with us there. And January 25th, we'll be back in East Carondelet at the little community center. But the show we're talking about, the one that's really getting a lot of talk about and a lot of review, is on February the 15th. And that's the night, the big show, when WWE legend Mr. Tito Santana will join us in East Carondelet. And we got Tito on the phone with us tonight. Tito, it's a pleasure and it's an honor for you to join us here. And all the fans are looking forward to getting you back here in the St. Louis area.
Thank you so much. It's been quite a while since I've been there, and the times that I did wrestle there, I had great support from the wrestling fans. They were always very supportive of Tito Santana, and Herb, you can't really realize how I'm looking forward to coming back and seeing some of my friends and fans there.
Well, and real quickly, I just wanted to, we get quite a few followers on our Sunday night update, and I know they followed the career of Tito Santana. And one of the questions that I had a couple of the fans text me earlier this week, because we've been announcing you coming, is that you're one of the few wrestlers that pretty well stayed a babyface throughout your whole career. Is that correct?
Yes, from what I understand, it's just me and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat are the only ones that never worked as heels.
Yeah, we had Ricky in last year, and he basically told me the same thing. He said that you were the only other one out there that he could think of also, so you guys are on the same page with that. And two great individuals, and you're I guess your best known appearances ran from about 1979 through 1993. Is that correct?
Yes. And Herb, I want to mention this. I don't know if you know this, but I was Richard Blood for a couple of years early in my career, and then it was Ricky Steamboat's real name.
Yes, it was. Yes. In fact, Ricky told me that. We were, the night before the show, I had him for 2 shows, and we were out at a local restaurant, and we were talking about you, and he told me that story, and I thought, wow, I bet Tito was really pleased with that, you know.
Oh, so,
yeah. And you held the WWF Intercontinental title a couple different times, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and
I took it from Don Morocco the first time, 1983, and then I lost it to Greg Valentine, and then I won it back in a cage match in Baltimore, and it was a fun time being the IC champion in the WWF.
Right. And then when you held the tag titles, was that with Ivan Putski?
That was my first big break. As a matter of fact, in 1979, it was Ivan Putski.
You're right, exactly. And then, of course, then in 1989, you won the King of the Ring tournament.
Yes, I did, and I got to face my probably my rival Rick Martel.
Oh yeah, I mean some great matches, and of course, as I've told you before, I've never ventured into the squared circle as a worker, and my hat's always been off to the top talent like yourself. Promotions I know how to do. This February be 47 years for us, but it's guys like you that have built the foundation on what has carried on all the years. I'm not saying it's nothing like it used to be back in the territorial days, and as you probably well know. But when I go back and I think of the guys like yourself and Ricky, and of course I go back here in the St. Louis area with the Sam Muchnick and the Gene Kaniskis and Pat O'Connors and Ric Flairs, and the way you guys did it back then is just totally different than what's out there today.
Well, St. Louis was the hub, a lot of great wrestlers went through there, and the fans were used to seeing some fantastic workers and some fantastic matches, and they appreciated a hard worker. They knew the difference.
Well, and of course, we just lost one of our great guys, Harley Race, not too long ago, and I remember he did a lot of work for me, and he always said that there was a saying out there amongst the boys: you really never made it into big time until you made it to St. Louis. And
that's right.
And so, of course, Harley was one of the reasons why St. Louis was so popular back then, and I was glad he got to be right back here in the Midwest when his career ended, and he left us, But so you moved, and in 2004, you got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. What was that like?
Well, it was a great experience. I had gone to a couple of years earlier. They had a Hall of Fame induction of a few wrestlers: Bobo Brazil, Pedro Morales. And I can't even remember who. I think there was 4 or 5 of them. It was a very small thing that the WWE did for a few wrestlers. I don't even know they even brought it up later. But when I was asked to be, when I was told that I was going to be inducted in the 2004 Hall of Fame, I never realized what a big deal it was going to be. It turned out to be one of the biggest assets for my career, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame with the first group of guys. I'm sure some of the guys that were in there. I mean, it was full of talent.
Oh yeah,
it was a great night.
Well, you mentioned the one named Bobo Brazil, and a quick story on my part. I booked him in a show in 1982, and it was one of the worst ice storms we ever had in Belleville, Illinois. And he drove all the way in from Benton Harbor, Michigan, and did about a 10-minute match. And I tried to get him to stay over, and he said, "Nope, done my job. I'm going back home." And he got back on the road. And of course, I always loved working with Bobo. I got to meet him when he first started out with Dick DeBruiser up in the Indianapolis area. So yeah, you're right. There was a lot of great talent on there, and for you to be added in there, you just kind of fit right in with all of those guys, So I got to talk about one match that I was at personally back September 1st, 1984, in St. Louis. You defending the title against a good friend of ours, Mr. Wonderful Paul Arndorf.
I was hoping you were going to mention that.
Oh, what a great match!
After the match, Paul and I were at the hotel, and Vince came in and congratulated us, and he said, "You guys were unbelievable," and if anybody asked me who I would want to work against, I would always say Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, because he was the Brendan Bull. He was he'd get effort in the ring, and he had a lot of pride, and I had a lot of pride, and to me it was like 2 great athletes, trying to give the fans everything we had.
Oh, and that's probably one of the greatest matches I know of the boys. A lot of them, your fellow brothers talked about how it just stole the show anywhere. It was a main event, and when I had Paul in a couple of different times, he talks about that match, about how great it was and how easy you were to work with. And so I just thought that when I had you on the phone, I had to mention that to you, because when you talk about the greats coming to St. Louis, I mean, you guys really tore the house down that night. And to go the time limit draw, I mean, it was in the crowd sitting on the edge of their seats because of the false frenzy was trying to get on you. And but it's one that we use in our training center. You know, I told you Bob Orton does our training school for us, Bob Orton Jr. And you guys, just from the sound of the bell to the end, it was just nonstop.
Yes, I mean, he was a great guy. And I don't know when the last time it was that you saw Paul, but, you know, he's going through some hard times physically right now, and I feel so sorry for him.
Oh, yes, yeah. In fact, when I had him in a couple years back, he had the issue, but and I was with him one other time up in Waterloo, Iowa, up at the Thez Tragus Hall of Fame. But I know he's not doing too well. So
no.
Yeah, we just keep him in our thoughts and prayers. But I tell you, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I want to talk about the news that is just all over social media. And I got to believe it's going to be the top book, #1 seller. Don't Call Me Chico. Tell us a little bit about this new book that everybody's just raving about.
Well, it's a book that if you go to TitoSantana.com, you can pre-order it on PayPal, and I'm accepting pre-orders until December 24th. And as a matter of fact, for the last 3 hours today, I've been making phone calls for people who have pre-ordered the book. It's a book about my life, you know, from growing up as a migrant worker, and breaks that I got in life, people that have helped me, how education became important to me, and my 8th grade gym teacher was the one that got me involved in sports, and I'm very, very grateful, and I owe everything to him. And from there, I went on to start playing football, and got a football scholarship. I played for the Kansas City Chiefs. I was there. I got cut. Then I went to Canada, and Tully Blanchard and myself, and also the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, we played at West Texas State. And they're the ones that started talking to me about becoming a professional wrestler. Well, one thing led to another, and you know, before you know it, I'm wrestling, and I talk about you know, wrestler's life was a very difficult life. We traveled all the time. We missed a lot of family time. I missed my wife's anniversaries, birthdays, my kids' birthdays, and it was a struggle. But you know, I was making a good living for my family, and I talk about the road, the life of the road. I talk about ribs that went on, and I talk about individual wrestlers, and you know, it's just we try to cover everything, you know.
Well, and I'll tell you, the reviews that I'm getting back from people that I know that have checked it out is just raving about it, and that's why I wanted to get you on here today. And, of course, I'm sure when we have you in here on February the 15th, we're going to talk a lot more about that, and we're going to try to sell some of them books for you, hopefully. But for you fans that are listening now, it's called Don't Call Me Chico. Tell us real quick how you came up with the name of the title. I know Jesse Ventura had something to do with that, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know, the fans like yourself that go back, Jesse the Body used to call me Chico. And believe it or not, I'm not a fan of watching the wrestling matches, so I wasn't watching. And I'd get to the arenas, and people were calling me Chico. And I thought they were insulting me, but it was because Jesse was calling me Chico. And it wasn't an insult, and then I realized, you know, I just happened to be watching in a hotel one of the shows because I was in a hotel, and I said, oh, that's where the fans are getting it from, and yeah. I had a completely different outlook, and you know, so Kenny Casanova, who has written several books of wrestlers that have been very successful, he said, Tito, I think that, you know, that's a catchy title, and I think the fans would appreciate it, and I appreciate the title. It's very catchy, and I'm getting a lot of feedback. A lot of people like that title.
Well, and I just I want to recap real quick for the listeners. The name of the book is "Don't Call Me Chico," and if you get it, you're going to have all kinds of information about Mr. Tito Santana from the days of growing up in a poor migrant family to his football days in college. Breaking into the wrestling business with a good friend of ours, Tully Blanchard, and of course Tully's father Joe ran the organization. And something that we talk about quite a bit on our show is working back in the territorial days, something that has gone from the business now. And boy, how a guy like me wish those territorial days was back. And you'll hear him talk about the WWF takeover, how he wrestled in Japan, how different it is over there, and of course something I find really interesting, how it transitioned into him becoming a teacher, and I think that's what you're doing still, isn't it, Tito?
Yes, it is. I've been doing it for 23 years, and I'd like to do it 3 more years and then retire, but I enjoyed wrestling. Teaching is not easy because a lot of kids, are problem kids, and the reason they're problem kids is a lot of times, they have maybe one parent or living with a grandmother, and they don't see much hope, and there's a reason why a kid's not good, and I believe that I have reached quite a number of kids. Because I was that kid. I could have gone, the wrong way very easily. And it was a gym teacher in my 8th grade year who became interested in helping me out, and he made a difference in my life. And I just hope that I have done the same for students. I know I have, because they've come back and graduated from college, and they've told me that I was a big influence in their lives.
Oh yeah, well, there's no doubt that you've been a big influence on your life, and I think it's just a proven fact. And I just hope this book goes as good as I know it's going to go, because I think people reading that will get to know more about Tito Santana and what the hard life that was, and then how successful you've turned out to be, and the influences you've had on those young students. I was also told you got a fan from the St. Louis area, Darla Staggs. I don't know if you remember Darla or not, but she used to go to all the matches, and she's going to be in town in February. She lives up in the Minneapolis area now, but she's going to make the trip in to see you.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing her. It's been quite a while, and I just to me the fans were always very important. I remember when before wrestling was big, and I used to walk with wrestlers, and I used to see the wrestlers sometimes that wouldn't sign autographs, and I used to say to them, I knew the importance of the fan. I said, without the fan, we're nothing.
Right.
So we have to give back. And the fan has always been very important to me.
Well, and that's why, doing the promotions as long as we have, and I try to bring in the legends such as yourself, and we're probably the only promotion that does that on a continuing basis, and the reason behind that is because of what you guys did. You gave your blood, sweat, and tears to the business, and I get criticized from some of the younger generations nowadays about, well, why are you bringing in these legends? You should pay us more money and this and that. And of course, if they catch me on a bad day, I tell them, I says, you probably need to be paying me to let you sit in a dressing room with the likes of a Paul Arndorff or a Ted DiBiase, or in your case, a Tito Santana, because you get to pick their brains for an hour or so. That's worth all the education you could get. People like Jim Cornette sit out there and critique your matches, and so it doesn't take long to get them to understand that it's actually, I'm doing this younger generation a favor by bringing in guys who's lived it and breathed it.
Well, the problem is there's not too many of us that are out there getting in the ring still, that you can teach somebody and show somebody how how old school wrestling still works. You know,
Right.
learn how to work, learn how to work the people, listen to the people. I remember Mr. Fuji saying, you know, listen to the people, they tell you what they want. And I used to think to myself, what the hell is he talking about? Listen to the people. Well, you know, after a while, you do get an ear, and you do get a sound, and you are able to, you know, the fans dictate the match. If you just let it be, they tell you what they want. Because what worked in St. Louis wouldn't work in Madison Square Garden, or might not work in L.A. Every fan was different, you know, and you know, you had to be able to fish and to figure out what the fan was looking for. And you know yourself, I mean, Harley Race, I mean, he was a great champion.
Oh, yes.
He wrestled with many different type of styles of wrestlers, and he'd figure it out. You know, he didn't wrestle the same with a guy that weighed 200 pounds as he did with somebody who weighed 300. You know, he figured out to get the fans involved and you know, give the people what they wanted.
Well, and that's what I said earlier. For any of the workers that are listening, we have quite a few follow us on Sunday nights. Go and find that match between Tito Santana and Paul Arndorf back in September 1st of 1984. And you watch that. That's a training lesson that you can watch that from start to finish, and you'll see the psychology that they used in that ring. And just not only watch them in the ring, but watch the audience. And they weren't sitting down. They were on their feet because Tito and Paul had them, as they used to say, had them eaten out of their hands, you know. What a great match. And in fact, I'm going to go find it and watch it again myself, because I was there that night. I was one of those fans that was sitting on the edge of my seat, you know. But I really appreciate you taking the day, and we could talk forever and ever because you got such an interesting career. But for you fans that are joining us tonight, mark that date down, February the 15th at the East Crown Lake Community Center, our monthly show we do there. We're going to be adding the WWE legends to our long list of names. Tito Santana will be joining us, and Tito, February the 15th can't get here quick enough for us.
Herb, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm looking forward to working with you, and hopefully we can hang out and have a beer. And because I'm not a big drinker, but I do like to have one or two beers, and you know, catch up and talk about the good old days.
We sure will. And like I said, February the 15th, we'll be here, and we're going to get these books. And you fans, be sure to call, pre-order it. And if you do, up till December the 24th, you will get a phone call from Tito Santana. Is that correct?
Yes, they will.
Yes, so get on there and get that book ordered, and I'm telling you, you won't be able to put it down, and put that in your list, or maybe a gift that you want to get for Christmas. So tell the wife that you want to get, don't call me Chico, and go on there and see why Tito Santana became such a household name in the professional wrestling business.
Herb, that was just incredible getting to sit here and listen to that conversation with you and Tito. But that could have went on for hours.
Oh yeah, what a great individual Tito Santana is. And for those of you who may be joining in a little late, he's going to be joining us on Saturday, February the 15th, the East Crown Lake Community Center. So come on in, and you'll be able to sit there and have that conversation with him. We'll probably have a special meet and greet earlier that evening before the show, like we do when the other legends that we brought in. Very knowledgeable individual. This book he's got out, Don't Call Me Chico. I've ordered my copy of it, and like I said, I've been reading the reviews on it, and I can't wait to get my copy. And
as he just said, if you order it before Christmas Eve, which is only 2 days away,
yeah, if you order it tonight,
you get a phone call from him.
You order it tonight, you'll get a call from him, a little Christmas thank you. So please do that, and tell him you heard it right here on the SICW update on your Sunday night program. Because we like when you support what we're doing, joining in tonight, listening to a WWE legend like Tito Santana. And then just to recap, 6 days away from the end of the show, the end of the year.
The end of the year, but the show of the show of the year.
Flash Flanagan going to do battle against superstar Steve Fender. with Travis Cook. And, of course, we all know the bounty is still out there on Flash Flanagan.
Actually, some of the fans were just talking about that great bounty. And
the bounty's out there. And, of course, Flash Flanagan, and I say it week after week, that guy's like the ever-ready bunny. He just keeps on ticking, I'm telling you.
Well, and, we just saw in some memories here recently the 1-year anniversary of the enforcement you put on Travis Cook in the cage last year.
Well, and thanks to Flash, I owe that to him. He invited me into the cage and let me get a little retribution on Travis Cook. And, of course, now some of the fans have been calling saying, has Travis still got the eye patch on? And I said, well, the last time I saw him, he doesn't know which eye to put it on.
Yeah, he keeps changing.
So we'll see which eye he has it on come next Saturday night. But just a great night lineup for the end of 2019. Normally our show is before the Christmas, but this year it's in between Christmas and New Year's. So come on out. We want everybody to have a Merry Christmas, and then come out on the 28th. You'll be after that Christmas blues. Don't worry about all the money you owe everybody for the Christmas presents. Just come out for that Saturday night and enjoy the show. See if Curtis Wild can hold on to that title, or if he walks out of there with a haircut. That will be Saturday night. 6-man tag action, a couple of tag matches, top to bottom. We forgot to mention the return of the fabulous Star Twins coming up from Tennessee. They're going to be here. Bert Prentice from USA Championship Wrestling. I talked to him today. He's going to be back in. Maybe he's going to make me another offer.
I remember he's the one that started this whole mess about Herb Simmons retiring.
Well, we'll see, but he's going to be in town. I know Novella would like to hear that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nice when you look at that card from top to bottom. From the Kowalski against Christopher Cade, the Texan and Waco,
the handicap
tag. I mean, you're not going to go anyplace else and find this type of action. And I know we've ran over tonight on time, but who cares? It's our show. We can stay here all night if we want. We want to thank Tito for joining us, and we're going to have more of those legends joining us on Sunday nights. But right now, we said January the 11th, Ron Simmons, WWE legend, will be at South Broadway Athletic Club. Of course, we made the announcement tonight, myself and Charlie Artman from Gimmick Tree Entertainment. Real close. We're not going to let it slip by. We're going to have on May the 2nd at the Belclair Fairgrounds, Big Sexy himself, Kevin Nash. That's a bombshell right there.
Absolutely.
So it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Spike Huber will be here for the Bruiser Brody Memorial in May, along with our good friend Barbara Goodish. We'll be adding more to that. So as we start off 2020, it's going to be a new year, and everybody wanted us to keep on going. February will also be celebrating 47 years promoting. So February is going to be a big month.
And February, we celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Sunday Night Update.
Man,
can you believe it's almost been a year of Sundays?
A year. And we want to thank each and everyone for following us. So try to make it out next Saturday night. If you don't, you're going to be sorry. And then if we don't see you Saturday night, we'll see you back here on Sunday night at 8 p.m.